Previously, in the Legion of Doom. This committee will hear today the testimony of Mr. Cohen, President Jabba the Trump's longtime personal attorney.
I am here to offer what I know about President Jabba the Trump.
This committee is actually encouraging a witness to violate attorney-client privilege and tell the truth instead of lying to protect his former client.
According to the Southern District of New York, you lied to banks. Did your so-called loyalty to the president cause you to defraud banks for your own personal gain?
Sir, there's never been a fraud. I never defrauded any bank.
We just had a debate where Mr. Cohen disputes what the Southern District of New York has found that he's guilty of committing bank fraud.
How long have you known Miss Darkholm?
I am responsible for Raven Darkholm joining the Jabba the Trump organization.
Mr. Jabba the Trump is paying Miss Darkholm a lot of money to be able to say he's not racist because he has a blue-skinned employee.
Our own chairman and our Democrat colleagues are trying to bring the president down.
Deep within a bleak and dismal swamp, hidden beneath its murky waters, lies the headquarters of the most sinister villains of all time. A Legion of Doom.
We are back with Mr. Cohen's hearing. I now recognize Mr. Luthor.
I want you to think about this. When have you seen a federal agency where this has happened? James Comey, director, fired by the president for not allowing him to obstruct justice and for starting an FBI investigation on the relations between the president and Russia. Andy McCabe, deputy director, fired for taking James Comey's side instead of the president's, with the attorney general saying that he lied under oath without providing any proof. Let me change the subject, because this is actually going the opposite way I wanted it to go. We actually wanted here today to testify the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, who actually wanted to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Mr. Jabba the Trump from office. He wanted to remove from office the president the American people didn't put there, but he bribed the Electoral College to be president anyway. This statement is actually going the opposite way I wanted it to go too. I yield back.
I now recognize Mr. Nigma.
It is a shame that someone that has a different view on the president than I do is being allowed to speak up.
Dude, that's literally what freedom of speech means.
I find the connecting of the dots here to be rather stunning. This is the first time in history that we have someone testifying here that lies more than we do. I believe there's an agenda here, and that agenda is to bring down the president by exposing to the American people all the crimes he has committed.
Mr. Sinestro.
Let me just pick up on those last comments. How about Mr. Papadopoulos, pled guilty. Mr. Manafort, convicted, pled guilty. Mr. Gates, pled guilty. Mr. Flynn, pled guilty. Mr. Pinedo, pled guilty. Mr. Vanderswan, pled guilty. Mr. Kilimnik, indicted on a charge of obstruction of justice for 2 years. You want to talk about an agenda? My friends on the other side of the aisle refuse to bring any of these people up before the committee.
Sir, if I can say one more thing in regard to the other gentleman's statement since it's on topic.
Sure, go ahead.
The lies that I told to Congress, in fairness, benefited Mr. Jabba the Trump. And I am not protecting Mr. Jabba the Trump anymore. To attack me about taxes and no credibility, it's for exactly that reason that I spent the last week searching in boxes in order to find this information that I did, so that you don't have to take my word for it. I don't want you to. I want you to look at the documents and make your own decision.
Let me just say, I don't think my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are afraid that you're gonna lie. I think they are afraid you're gonna tell the truth. For the first time in your life. I yield back the rest of my time.
Mr. Cobra.
Mr. Cohen, you're a disgraced lawyer.
I mean, you've been disbarred. Due to your loyalty, due to your confidentiality, attorney-client privilege, you shouldn't do what you are doing here today. Telling the truth and providing evidence. You want us to think that you're about justice, but you're a pathological liar. You don't know truth from falsehood.
I'm sorry. Are you referring to me or the president?
There is no truth with you whatsoever. Even though you're providing evidence that you're telling the truth now, and we, who are defending the president, don't have any evidence to provide. That's why I drew this picture with my crayons. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Is it me, or are my colleagues becoming mentally impaired?
Miss Giganta.
Mr. Cohen, when you created a fake Twitter account, Women for Cohen, you paid a firm to post tweets like, "In a world full of lies and deception, we appreciate this honest guy. At Harvey Cohen. Hashtag TGIF. Hashtag handsome. Hashtag sexy. Was that done to protect the president?"
I didn't actually set that up. It was done by a young lady that worked for Red Finch, and during the course of the campaign is somewhat crazy and wild. We were having fun. That's what it was. Me and that young lady. We were having fun.
Did you have fun by having snoo-snoo with that young lady?
Ma'am, I think that question is somewhat personal.
Do you intend to have snoo-snoo tonight?
Why are you asking me these things?
Because Giganta is free after 7.
Miss Cheetah.
Mr. Cohen, at the center of the reasons you are going to prison was conviction of campaign finance violations. They are centered around the revelations of the Washington Post, reported or aired in the Access Hollywood video. When this happened, what was Jabba the Trump's reaction to the video? Was he concerned about the impact of the video on the election?
The answer is yes. I was in London at the time, and I received a phone call stating that they needed me to start making phone calls to the various different news outlets that I have relationships with, and we needed to spin this. What we wanted to do was claim that this was just men's locker room talk.
By the way, did you know that the president grabs women by the...
Was the concern about the election in particular?
The answer is yes.
The Stormy Daniels revelation came right after that. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you negotiated $130,000 payment.
The $130,000 number was not actually negotiated. It was a number that Miss Clifford wanted.
When you finally completed that deal, what happened?
I contemplated whether or not to do it. I went again to Mr. Jabba the Trump's office, and he told me that he had talked to a couple of friends, and $130,000 is not a lot of money, and we should just do it.
I have voters that don't make that amount of money in a lifetime.
Mr. Grodd.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I can't understand you, sir.
We can't understand him either. Mr. Clay.
Mr. Cohen, I would like to talk to you about the president's assets. You have provided this committee with copies of the president's financial statements, or parts of them, from 2011, 2012, and 13. Can you explain why you had those statements and what you used them for?
These financial statements were used by me for two purposes. One was discussing with media, whether it was Forbes or other magazines, to demonstrate Mr. Jabba the Trump's significant net worth. That was one function. The other function was when we were dealing with insurance companies. We would provide them with these copies so that they would understand that the premium, which is based sometimes upon the individual's capabilities to pay, would be reduced.
And all this was done with the president's direction and his knowledge?
Yes, because whatever the numbers would come back to be, we would immediately report it back to him.
And did this information provided to us inflate the president's assets?
I believe those numbers are inflated.
Yeah, the numbers do appear to be inflated.
Mr. Ensabanur!
Mr. Cohen, you come here, rail on the President of the United States while he's across the Pacific Ocean, magically cured from his bone spur, and you call him a racist, a cheat. I've been with the President a little bit, and I didn't see that. I see a President who is very sincere when he's not lying, who is trying to make this country better for every white, straight, rich, male American. And you coming here with proof that I'm wrong? It's really unbelievable. Go serve your time and don't come back here making allegations against the President that you can prove are truthful.
Mr. Green is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are here today to have a fair and open process. Yet the Democrats have vastly limited the scope of this hearing with a gag order to try to tell the members of this committee what we can and cannot talk about. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle claim they want the truth, that they want transparency. Yet the Democrats' witness to testify before Congress today is none other than a scorned man going to prison for lying to Congress. Let that sink in. If the Democrats wanted the truth, they would have an honest person here testifying.
And how are we supposed to have someone honest testifying here? No honest person would ever work for Jabba the Trump.
If you read the sentencing report on Mr. Cohen, words like deceptive and greedy are scattered throughout the report. It paints the picture of a narcissist and bully who cannot tell the truth whether it's about the president or about his own personal life.
Are you going to ask them question, or are you just going to waste your time attacking your colleagues and offending the witness?
With the loss of your law license, what is your source of income in the future?
I don't expect I will have a source of income when I'm in federal penitentiary.
Is there a book deal coming or anything like that?
There is no book deal right now in the process, but I have been contacted by many, including for television and movies. If you would like to tell me who you would like to play you, I'm more than happy to write the name down.
Hi, I'm Zorak.
Miss Frost is recognized.
I am very disappointed to have you in front of this committee today. I find this hearing not in the best interest of the American people. They don't need to know the truth. This is another political game with the sole purpose of discrediting the president by providing proof of his evil deeds. There are members here with the singular role in Congress to impeach President Jabba the Trump. Why are those in the majority holding this hearing? We could be focused on actual issues that are facing America, like what are the Kardashians eating for dinner tonight, or who is going to be in the next Dancing with the Stars. Instead, the Democrats are trying to expose evidence against the president. This is a media circus. What a waste of time. I yield the remaining of my time.
This committee will now have another recess to vote in favor of another tax cut for the rich. I will see you all in part 3 for the conclusion of this hearing.
This is not gay if you believe in Jesus, right?